Welcome to This Endorian Life, a Star Wars podcast from the Radio Meanwhile Network. My name is Steve Rudd.
I'm Nick Gunning, and we're following the Ewoks from Return of the Jedi to the Ewoks TV movies, the 80s cartoon, and beyond. We've been beyond the last couple of weeks, but we're back with the Ewoks today.
Reeling it back in.
We are. Yep.
Come on. So today we're discussing the Season 1, Episode 10, Wicket's Wagon, which originally aired November 9th, 1985.
1985. Today's episode was written by Paul Dini and directed by Ken Stevenson and Raymond DeFelice. This was in a compilation on VHS as Ewoks 3, Wicket the Hero, and on DVD as part of the Tales of the Endor Woods. And that's where I've seen it before, as part of that compilation.
It's really interesting how they tend to change they release it on Disney Plus as a show.
Yeah.
Right? But it's been previously released as different segments.
As little, like,
VHS
movies and stuff, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm wondering why they chose to just release it in its air. It seems... I haven't been... I gotta be honest, I haven't been following the release date.
Right.
But I'm just gonna assume that they are releasing the show on the date in the order that they aired them.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. The Disney Plus listing is the air date, and the collections seem to be trying to put them together with like episodes, because as we've discussed, we're all over the map in what style the episodes are. So I think they probably play a little better as compilations, just because. Okay, this is a whole, the Haunted Village collection is just all the Morag stuff together, and so yes, that makes perfect sense. So I'm sure that's why they did it compilation-wise, because otherwise it would just be chaos.
Well, VHS too is
true.
That's difficult, back then to you get 4 to 6 hours basically was a VHS.
Yeah, so putting them together thematically, I think, makes for a better package. So it was pretty smart of the home video releases there.
Yeah.
Our featured cast member this week is Greg Swanson, who voices Weechie. He starred as Phil in the Bill Murray movie Meatballs. Did you watch Meatballs?
I think I did.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I maybe if I saw the cover, I'd remember. But I off the top of my head, I'd have to just.
It's set at a camp.
No.
Bill Murray is like a camp counselor at this camp. And
I may have actually seen that.
I like it quite a bit. It's sort of more of a family movie than like a... It straddles kind of a weird line like that, but I haven't seen it in a long time, but I used to love it.
Okay.
So Greg Swanson was in that, and tons of voice work. Care Bears, of course.
Oh, yeah.
Starcom, Police Academy, the series, the new Archies, Animated Elf. I feel like you name it, he did voice work in it.
Nice.
And he plays Weechie here today. I picked an episode that actually has Weechie in it for that one to be relevant. So
I just love his voice, man.
I know.
Weechie.
Yeah.
That voice. Like, come on, guys. Like,
yeah. He's easily a 4-pack a day smoker.
I know.
No question. He's rolling up Ewok leaves and just sucking them down.
Well, at the start of the episode, he's the one complaining about, having to go search for plum fruit in the rain. I'm sure he's hungover.
He doesn't have the lung capacity to be walking that much.
Easily 4 packs a day.
For sure.
Oh,
Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay.
Or pipe. I don't know.
Oh, that's true. He can have a little pipe. Yeah.
Like 14 pipes a day.
I guess so. Something like that. Yeah. Yeah.
Just pounding that tobacco.
Literally, yeah.
All right. Season 1, Episode 10, Wicket's Wagon. Searching for glum fruit in a storm, Wicket, Weechie, and Willie stumble upon an old and decaying Ewok battle wagon. This cart was constructed by Wicket's great-grandfather and led to the final defeat of the Dulocs in a great war for the Soul Trees long ago. Inspired by his great-grandfather, Wicket plans to repair the wagon. The rest of the group just wants to play with it. The Dulocs catch wind of the Ewok plan and send the shaman to investigate, but instead, he accompanies Urga, the chieftain's wife, to visit the oracle, who is also Uncle Murgoob, to find out what's going on.
Uncle Murgoob.
Murgoob, yeah. Murgoob gives them a first-hand account of the terrible battle wagon. The shaman suggests the Dulocs get their hands on it. If so, they would rule the forest.
Sure.
The Dulocs secretly wait for the Ewoks to finish the battle wagon and move out to claim it while Wicket is asleep inside. He manages to narrowly escape and warn the rest of the village. Chief Chirpa doubts the Dulocs are smart enough to use it, if it works at all, because only Wicket and Milani repaired it. Milani is the little one that has a crush on Wicket.
Yes.
For anyone. Coincidentally, the Dulocs accidentally run the wagon into the river. Frustrated about losing his cart, Wicket wanders over to his great-grandfather's soul tree and empties his feelings. Suddenly, his great-grandfather's spirit appears and speaks to him. He encourages him to work hard despite being laughed at and to never quit once putting his mind to something. Wicket sets out alone to take back his wagon. Back at the Duloc camp, the battle wagon has been recovered unharmed from the river. Murgoob instructs the shaman that the way to hurt an Ewok is to destroy their soul tree. Wicket overhears this and comes up with a crafty plan of his own. Since Murgoob, the Oracle, hasn't been seen in 600 seasons, he disguises himself and impersonates Murgoob. Wicket tricks the Dulocs into testing the wagon, which causes it to crash into the river once again, this time with everyone on it. The real Murgoob appears and catches Wicket green-handed.
I see what you did.
Yeah,
I see what you did. There you go.
He's green hands. Recovering the wagon once again, and now with Wicket imprisoned inside, the Dulocs set out for the Soul Tree and ram an Ewok picnic along the way in order to display the wagon's power. The Ewoks, in force, meet the Dulocs and demand they stand down and return Wicket. The Dulocs charge the Ewoks and successfully break through their blockade and head for the Soul Trees. Milani pursues the wagon on Bega and rescues Wicket. The two of them manage to incapacitate the entire Duloc war party. In a last-ditch effort, Wicket threatens to destroy his own wagon. Gornish, the chieftain, believes Wicket is bluffing when he attempts to remove the main support peg to the battle wagon. Sacrificing all his hard work, Wicket removes it and the wagon falls apart before it can crash into his great-grandfather's soul tree. As thank you to Wicket for displaying his courage and vision, the Ewok tribe fixes the wagon good as new. Wicket is thankful to Chief Chirpa and jokes about following his vision while he winks at his grandfather's spirit. Roll credits.
This is quite a change to the Ewok mythology now that they can commune with the dead.
I know.
Okay.
Well, I mean, here's the thing.
Okay.
I like this episode.
I like
feel
it too.
This is an Ewok episode.
I agree.
But there were so many things that deviated from the norm. Like,
there's no norm. There's no norm in this show. Don't give it that credit. There's no norm.
Well, I mean, it's like now I don't even know what's the soul tree. Is the soul tree a tree or soul tree trees? Like,
yeah, I know. I kind of thought the same thing. Yeah,
I can't. Because we had that episode a while back where there was the soul tree. Remember? They crossed that.
Yeah.
One special
the
soul tree.
Yeah.
That they needed to go sprinkle some stuff, right? When they just sent the kids to go do it.
To save the souls of all the Ewoks.
Save the entire planet, literally.
Right. Yes.
so I guess there's like the great soul tree, and then there's minor soul trees.
I guess so. Sure.
Which, I mean, and then you got, the only way to harm an Ewok is to kill its soul tree, but it's like it's already dead.
Right.
So like you're not gonna hurt Wicket if you destroy his great grandmother. So it was like so much mythology in this. I was like, nice try, but like, it just doesn't work.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't when you like pick it apart. But I agree with what you're saying. Like the episode as a whole did feel like an actual like cartoon episode of a show that a child would potentially watch.
Yeah, we got the ingenuity. I mean, it just proves that Wicket has the smarts and ingenuity to be able to rebuild a battle wagon. All it just seems to do is just collide.
I know,
there is that like ram on there, the swinging ram that you can see, but like literally that's it.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I don't know. Finally we're getting an episode that has to do with a character who has a motivation, like a normal person's motivation.
Right?
Like,
of course.
This was my great-grandfather's. I want to restore it. Just like any, young kid or, young adult with a car. Like, this was my grandfather's or my father's, old Mustang. I want to restore it.
Yep.
So to me, it was like, this makes sense.
Yep.
It really makes sense.
I agree.
Just left it at that.
I agree. Well, going back to the compilation, this was followed on the compilation by Tree of Light, which happened a lot earlier. That's the one where they go and try to save the Tree of Light. And so it kind of, when you think
So that
about
is
it,
the episode. Yeah.
when you think about it in that order, it's like, okay, on this small scale, we're going to work on this soul tree. And then to sort of raise the stakes higher, they now have to go do the Tree of Life, which covers the whole planet. So I think that's a clever way to put these episodes in a compilation.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
Okay, so that makes sense.
Because it
So
feels like
Tree of Life,
it feels like an escalation rather than
It
just
does.
like, here's another tree situation, you know?
There's just so many episodes in between trees that I'm like, wait a minute, is the soul tree tree?
I know. I know.
Every time.
I know. Yeah.
Well, there's that first episode, right, with the fire, and it's like, oh no, the soul trees, and you're like,
yep.
oh, so there's trees, and then literally the next episode or 2 episodes late, 3, it's like the Tree of Life. It's just one tree, so you're like, oh, okay, it's just one tree, and then 5 episodes later, it's a bunch of trees again. Okay, that makes sense. Now that we cleared that up.
No, but
Tree
I thought
of
it
Life
was.
and soul tree.
I thought it was fun. Like it is a lot of mythology that sort of drops out of nowhere. But I kind of liked digging into the past a little bit. I kind of liked seeing like the bad blood between the Ewoks and the Duloks from like, you know, many life cycles ago and all that. I felt like it worked in ways that a lot of the episodes haven't. So, you know, I felt good about this overall.
Yeah. So I mean, it also gives us an understanding, or at least a perspective, on how old the Duloks are.
True.
Right? I mean, I would when I saw this, I assumed since Murgoob went into hiding for 600 Murgoob. Yeah. First of all, he says Uncle Murgoob.
Yes.
So I'm like, okay, he's his uncle, and if his uncle's been in there for 600 seasons, I don't know how long a year is on Endor, but if I do it in human years, that's a long. That's
it's
old.
It's a longevity.
It's a long time.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
So now we know how old the Duloks are, and we also know that some of them who are alive probably were at that battle. Right? I mean, you have to then assume that Logray was, you know, Chief Chirpa probably was, you know, things. Oh, Chief Chirpa was young, right? Because he's a fatherly age. Logray is like a grandfatherly age. So Logray probably saw it. Or no, we know that Logray was a warrior, right? Against
Morag?
Morag, yes, Morag.
Yeah.
So now we're getting into that, like, oh, cool. Now there's another warrior, right? Like they have warrior heritage. So I mean, that's what we wanted, right? That's what we've been asking for. Like, give us the characters. We want to learn about the characters. And
for sure.
Perfect episode to learn about the character.
Yep, I agree.
So yeah, he's old. That's crazy. I mean, he was there. He gave a first-hand account of the battle cart.
Yeah. I wonder why they went with the Wicket's great-great-grandfather or whatever it was appearing to him. That was the real, like, out of left field for me. That's the thing I didn't really get why we were doing that.
And he really didn't look like a warrior either. No, like, that was the other... They kind of just portrayed him as a decrepit old man.
Yep.
And so, you know, that's when I was like, wait a minute, what?
Yeah.
That's what they're going with? You know?
I know.
So that was very sudden to me.
Yeah, I agree.
It would have made sense... I don't know. If it would have made sense if there was like a voice that like he heard on the wind, and he was like, oh yeah, like don't give up, you know, or something like, you know, like some, you know, whatever, like anything, or like something falls out of the tree, and he's like, oh, it's a sign that I should keep going, you know, like something. That, I feel like
it was a little. It's kind of a step too far. It was just a little too much.
It was too easy. I thought that was too easy. Like, oh. They're just going to make him appear, and he's going to tell him what to do.
Yep, exactly. But, yeah, I mean, we've already kind of covered it, but then how many yub nubs then would you give?
I don't know. I really like this episode, but it still had its... I don't know. I'd give it like a 4.2.
Okay. Yeah, you know, I'm about in the same place. I was thinking between 3 and 4, so I'll say 4 even. I think this is a better one of the series. I feel like if somebody was like, what episode should I watch, I would include this one and like, maybe give this a whirl. You know, it's nice. I think if you're coming from Return of the Jedi or whatever, if you have familiarity with the Ewoks, because it focuses on Wicket, it makes Wicket like a primary character. So I feel like that's a good one to come from somewhere else.
Which we haven't had in a while.
No,
Wicket's been in the episodes, but it's been like...
It's been a minute.
He's been the little brother character in all the episodes.
Exactly.
You know? I mean, the episode with the most stakes in it, which was the Tree of Life, he wasn't even allowed to come.
Right.
He wasn't even allowed to go.
So he got benched. He got benched, for sure.
Benched.
For sure.
So it's just like, you know, that we're kind of like, okay, I guess we're watching an episode about Weechie and Willie.
Apparently.
And Paplu and, you know, or not Paplu, or I don't know. The older ones, you know, basically. So... Yeah, this was the episode I feel like we had asked for, and
that's true
because we were, you know, because it kind of hits all those points, but it does seem like, even though this is, it seems like it's not a standalone episode, right? Because you have it, you could, we identified it already. What was the stuff that stood out?
Yeah.
Was the whole mythology.
Yeah.
Which was weird. It almost seemed like, okay, we kind of needed a backstory on that. So the story itself didn't even need any of that, any of the mythology or the spirits or anything like that. Didn't need it. Like, he could have just sat down with Milani, or wherever, and she would have been, she could have said something, or some other Ewok could have said something, or Logray. Why would you give up? Blah, blah, blah. Go ahead and do what you want. Like things like that. Like, it could have just been anybody else.
Yeah.
It would have been fine.
No, I think you're right. But I guess the part of that I did like, even though I wasn't really down with the ghost, I kind of liked that it was just a kind of essentially Wicket on his own, connecting with somebody. He wasn't like going to, an elder or somebody regular. So I kind of liked that. But it's just weird because we haven't really done that kind of thing before. So that
seems to be Paul Dini's habit, though.
I guess
to,
so.
Make an episode that, he's connecting them. Now you see that there's like, those aspects where you're like, oh, there's got to be connections now.
Yeah.
We're going to watch another episode where something like that's going to happen. And it's going to make sense now because we saw this episode.
Yeah.
But if standalone, you're kind of like, oh, that really, he could have sat down on a stump and talked to Bega, and Bega would have been like, and he would have been like, yeah, you're right. And he just convinced himself,
Right,
like,
right.
It could have been something, that's happened in shows, right? Where somebody talks to like a cow and they're like, should I do this? Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right. I should.
Yeah, true.
And it would have been fine,
You're right.
So,
well, so tell me, because we both kind of like this episode. What's your Ichiwawa moment?
I think the Ichiwawa moment that I first was like, whoa, okay, that's cool, was that Wicket's great grandfather was influential in a war.
Yeah, that's a fun,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, whoa, okay, all right. And then we got a little bit of backstory on it, that like the Dulocs aren't just worthless, sub character, that there actually at one point was a great war, so they fought with each other,
right?
So, yeah, I don't know. For me, that was like that's kind of cool. All right. Great war, great grandfather.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. What about you?
I liked this. I liked all the wagon stuff, finding it and fixing it. But I thought the clever thing they did was when it was barreling down towards the soul tree and Wicket like pulled the right pin to kind of break the whole thing. Like, I thought that was a big sacrifice and also a clever thing to do in that moment. So I'm going to give it to that.
Yeah, for me, that's why I wrote that part in there. I gave it like 3 sentences because it was pretty significant to the plot line, as far as like, what did his great grandfather say? Something about like, don't quit once putting your mind to something, and and then he had to then just destroy it.
Right.
So he put his mind to something, didn't quit, finished it, and then destroyed it.
Exactly.
And that's pretty significant. I think
true.
That's a good Ichiwawa moment because it really brings it full circle.
Yeah.
Right? And then at the time, only Wicket thought it was important. Right? Nobody else wanted to build with him, and then everyone else was like, oh, the Dulocs have it?
Yeah.
They don't even know how to use it, and you built it, so it probably won't even work anyway.
Right.
Right? So then at the end of the episode, everyone was like, okay, it does have a significance. Let's rebuild it for Wicket. So yeah, that's a really good Ichiwawa moment. What about your Okavarka moment?
I think it's just the ghost. I liked the flashbacks. I liked hearing about that character. Didn't need to see it so overt.
Yeah.
Even if maybe all we got was in the last scene where you see the ghost like kind of with his hand on Wicket's shoulder and they don't interact, like maybe that would have been cool. I just felt like it was too much ghost.
Yeah. I think for me it was that too, but it was like the very first one I thought of in the episode was the Murgoob character in general. When they were like, he hasn't been seen in 600 seasons, I thought, yeah, we're definitely going to see him then.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
It's one of those things where like, why even set that up when it could just be a dude in a hut that
Murgoob.
No one's seen in a while,
Murgoob is coming. Yeah.
Murgoob. So yeah, like definitely the ghost though. That I was just like, oh.
Yeah.
Too easy.
I guess so the moral or the lesson here is maybe self-reliance or like trust your gut kind of.
Or don't give up or despite everyone laughing at you, finish a project that
follow your own North Star or whatever.
Yeah, just like there's 100 stories out, movies and books that kind of run along that same thing about finishing what you started.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So
very classic.
Yeah, I think that's the moral
classic lesson there. All
Oh,
right.
yeah.
Well, Steve, let me ask you this. This is our first episode of the new year. Happy 2022
Yeah,
to
Happy
you, my
New
friend.
Year.
So I'm wondering, was there any, like, what were your favorite Star Wars moments from 2021?
So, I mean, obviously, the first one is starting this podcast.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, heck yeah, that's probably the most significant in the entire Star Wars universe
Sure.
to hit.
Sure.
Hit, hit
certainly
fans everywhere.
Ewok related. Yeah.
Worldwide. Yep.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we were talking about this before the show about, like the games and stuff. But for me, like Star Wars Squadrons, and I don't know about our listeners out there, anyone, or if you remember yourself, but you remember the old X-Wing games?
Yeah.
X-Wing, or TIE Fighter, X-Wing versus TIE Fighter, like all those flying games that we played on like Windows 95, possibly DOS too. I can't even remember if it was even before Windows 95.
Oh, yeah.
I think it was Windows 95. But yeah, like it had to have been DOS, right? I mean,
probably.
It was old. So this game for me was like a major like, this feels so like whatever you call that when it's just like recalling all those memories of being a kid playing these games. I'm loading in as an adult and I feel like a kid playing this game.
That's cool.
So that was pretty significant for me.
I haven't played Squadrons. Like I always want to, but I haven't done it. One thing that I got for Christmas in Christmas of 2020 was Jedi Fallen Order.
Yeah, how'd you like that? I only started it, so don't.
Oh, sure. Okay. Okay. I liked it quite a bit. I started. It started a little slow for me. Like there were some things about it that I felt a little dated. Like some of the textures in the levels and stuff. It was hard to tell. Like, is this a handhold? Is this something I can catch or grab onto? And it would be like, oh, okay, apparently not. So there's some chunkiness there. But once I really got into the game, I liked it a lot. I think the overall playing experience is a lot of fun, but I think some of the texture issues, and I think the fact that you continually go back to the same planets gets a little repetitive here and there. But overall, I thought it was a lot of fun. I really did enjoy it.
There was a bunch of times that I would jump and be like, oh, I guess I can't, it's not a wall I can hold on to, and I would die, and I'm like, so many times happen. But that's what those games, like, there were times where I got stuck, and like it all depended on how or where the camera angle was to be able to see where I needed to go, and I'm like, oh, there was like no indication that I needed to go up there until I spun the camera around, and I was like, oh shoot, there's a whole like little platform up there that I need to get to.
It's definitely a game that takes a lot of trial and error, and I think some of that is just there's some design aspects that I think are a little bit dated. But overall, I don't think it really affects the gameplay because I really did have a good time with it, and I'm ready for a sequel.
Oh yeah, me personally, I spent forever on the planet with the spire.
Yes,
where you had to like jump through the fans.
Yeah,
I spent forever there, and I didn't want to look it up because I refused to accept that this is a puzzle RPG.
Yeah,
and then I finally had to look it up, and it was like something so dumb. That was where I was just like, oh, that's what I need to do.
Yeah,
like I stood there like 100 times, So it was like one of those things where I was just like,
it has its moments. Yeah,
but it's a puzzle RPG, and I wanted it to be like the original Fable, right? Where you just run around and you can go places, like an action RPG.
I was just coming off of the Uncharted series from on PlayStation.
Yeah, and
there are some similarities there in some of the design, and I think maybe it suffered a little bit from the comparisons there. But it's sounding like I'm saying it's a negative, but I do recommend the game.
Yeah,
I think it's
good.
I think it's fun.
It is very good. The sound, the lightsaber visuals is really good.
It's got
really good.
It's got a prequel graphic novel which is decent, and I also really like the score. Like listening to the music is pretty good too. Pretty cool stuff. I discovered The Mandalorian because we didn't have Disney Plus when the first season dropped, so I kind of like pounded through the whole Mandalorian.
You got 1 and 2
in 2021, right? Yeah, and I loved it. So that's not breaking any new ground to say The Mandalorian's great, but I really liked it in a way I hadn't liked the Star Wars things in a while. But I was a big Star Wars Rebels fan. Like that was kind of more so than Clone Wars or any of the other things that were coming out. Rebels was big for me, but I liked Mandalorian a lot, and of course some connections there between Mandalorian and Rebels also.
Oh yeah.
What about you? What else you got?
So my next two are books. I finally finished Tarkin.
Right. Yeah. I haven't read that one.
It's okay.
Okay.
I think when I finished it, I thought I would have much rather Timothy Zahn write the Tarkin book, and then Luceno have him write all the stuff on Thrawn. Right, because I think I like the way Luceno writes, but he's very much more like in your mind type of writing.
Yeah,
his characters are in their heads a lot, and I think Zahn would have just been more of a cunning and devious writer for that character, for Tarkin, and I wanted him to be that character. I wanted Tarkin to be really evil.
Yeah,
like really evil.
Right.
You know? So it's like they're making Thrawn Tarkin. That's essentially what they're doing.
It might have been a good time to pass on the Thrawn character, because I did read. He's got 2 new trilogies. I read the first, and it just didn't do anything for me.
Chaos Rising.
I just did not like those.
Almost started it. I foolishly opened Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six and read the prologue, and I was like, crap! Now I'm sucked into this like 900-page book. Yeah, like. So I almost started the Ascendancy series. I actually just returned it the other day. I'd gotten it from the library and was like, well, I'm not going to read this, so I might as well return it.
Yeah, they didn't really do much for me, but book-wise, I did find that I really liked... I'm not a big manga reader as a rule, a lot of graphic novels, but the manga format is not one that I've read a lot of. But there's been some really cool adaptations. So Claudia Gray has some books, one called Lost Stars and one called Leia, Princess of Alderaan. And those were both adapted into mangas, and I really enjoyed those. And then Rebels is currently being adapted in that, and I've read the first 2 volumes of that. So I would say, like in Star Wars publications, I was a big fan of all the mangas that came out this year. Or last year, 2021.
2020, yeah, right. So it's funny, my daughter has been really, speaking of mangas, right? I had gotten out of the library like all of the original comic books for Star Wars. Like there's like a 4 graphic novel series of like A New Hope, and then a 4 graphic novel series, like the really old. I mean, it's old. And I also got the Jedi Academy series, which is black and white. The little the little Star Wars Jedi Academy, the Phantom Bully.
Yeah, I remember those.
Like Attack of the Furball, like these little. I mean, they're not little; they're actually really long, but they're black and white. And Zoe, my 7-year-old, loves those.
Wow, that's cool.
Like, I mean, we'll have 2. We have 2 of them right now. She'll have these 2 for months before she's like, "All right, I'm ready for the next book or the next 2 books or whatnot." She just loves them, and it's funny. Like, she loves that black and white medium.
I haven't read those Star Wars ones that you're talking about, but I know those seem to be a hit with the young crowd.
They're for kids, yeah. They'd be good for you guys, for your kids, but not for you. I don't think they're really that interesting. They're very silly.
So if you've got kids out there who are looking to get into Star Wars, maybe that's the way to do it. That, and of course the Ewoks cartoon.
Absolutely. And then the supplementary stuff is listening to us.
Sure.
It makes sense.
Yeah, it all comes together.
We'll help you out with what you need.
And next we'll be helping you out through season 1, episode 11, the 3 lessons.
Ooh.
So we'll see what we learn.
Hopefully we'll be able to extrapolate that there are 3 lessons.
We'll see if we can find them. Yep.
Watch, it's going to be only 2. Watch it.
Yep, probably. All right, well, Happy New Year, my friend. We'll see you next time, everybody.
Yes, Happy New Year. See you next time. This Endorian Life was brought to you by the Radio Meanwhile Network. You can find more about this show and others like it at our network's website, radiomeanwhile.com. Share your thoughts on this and upcoming episodes by following us on Facebook or Twitter at Endorian Life. And please rate, subscribe, and share this show wherever you get your podcasts.